The Rode Video Link comes as a package with a transmitter, a receiver, a lead to go into your camera from the receiver, and a lavalier mic. Both the transmitter and the receiver build is pretty good. It's plastic, but it's shatterproof. The lavalier that comes with this package is kind of a halfway house between the Rode lavalier and the SmartLav Plus, in that it has a little bit more weight than the SmartLav Plus and a little bit less weight than the Rode lavalier. There's a micron type connector on the bottom, but it's hardwired rather than screwed in, so you can't remove it or change it, and it comes with the standard mounting that goes with both the lavalier from Rode and the SmartLav Plus. Also, the lead for the lavalier is slightly thinner than the Rode lavalier lead, so it's just not quite as substantial. It is supplied with a screw thread on the bottom on the 3.5mm plug, so it makes a really solid connection to the transmitter. On the back of the receiver is a shock mount which actually can be removed as well. The shape of the cold shoe itself is actually round rather than the traditional square type of connection. This means that you can actually turn the receiver round at different angles to get it out of the shot. The transmitter has a belt clip on the back. The display on the receiver is really clear, and you can set the channel there while pairing, so you just basically go up and down and then tell it to pair and it'll go to that channel. I've set mine to channel 4, but you can choose any channel between 1 and 8. Having said that, although there's only one channel or 8 channels to choose from and you choose one channel, it does actually switch about while you're talking to choose the clearest frequency to use for your speech. The transmitter display is a different colour and just gives you the channel that you're using, at the strength of the signal, the battery condition, etc. So it's a pretty simple display and easily read. If the transmitter and receiver aren't paired, then the display just flashes at you, so you soon know. The transmitter itself has an on-off button which acts as a mute switch, but it also flashes red if you overmodulate or if you're clipping. So you soon know just by looking at that when you speak. The receiver itself can be set to put out audio at 0 dB, -10 or -20. So what you do is you set your camera to a nice low level and then you check with the -10 and -20 to make sure you've got a good level going in. It is actually very loud on the output. The transmitter itself on the input gives you a choice of 0, +10 and +20 dB, so you can really adjust it to the microphone that you decide to use. That's a really good thing to have actually, because as I found with another unit that I tested, you couldn't do this, so it really did affect which microphones you can use. With this one, you really can adjust both the input gain and the output gain at the other end, which is a great feature. Once you've made sure that you're not clipping on the system, then you plug it into your camera, place it on the top or wherever you want to put it, and check the input of your camera to make sure you're not going into clipping there, and then you're ready to go. Although you can angle the receiver on your camera, you can put it round at any position you like. In actual fact, if you just line it up with your camera, the front of the receiver really is well behind the lens and it's not going to get into your shot at all, so it's really unobtrusive. Now, if you're like me and you like to experiment with filming and sound, I often sit in the garden with my kid and the wife and want to video. Now, sometimes I'll bring a camera down here, and other times I'll use it from the house, or I'll use two. I'll have one down here and I'll have one up there. But the difference is the one down here now no longer needs a microphone because I'm using a wireless link to the camera indoors, which is upstairs. Now, because the Rode has such a good coverage, it truly gives what Rode say. It does give 100 yards easily, quite nicely, as long as it's line of sight. I'm now at the back of the garden, still talking normally, and I can use this will cover the whole of the garden. So if I've got a camera down here, I don't need a microphone. Everything's being recorded by the lav that I'm wearing down here, and when I get indoors, all I've got to do is line the system up. So there's another use for these wireless lavs. Great use for them, and it works incredibly well. You know, another useful thing that you can do is when you're outside and when you're filming is you always want to get that microphone close to your subject, but what you don't want to do is perhaps show the microphone, and that is something that I really like to do myself if possible. So the idea of planting microphones in a scene is really something that I would do, because you can leave the microphone there and move the camera around wherever you like and the sound will remain consistent. So it's really easy to move the camera and not have any effect on the audio whatsoever. It'll remain consistent, and that's a really useful thing to have. And one of the most difficult things on video is getting consistent audio, because you want to change the angle, change the distance between the camera and the subject, and you want to keep your audio sounding the same. So a plant is a really useful thing to have. Now, you've probably been looking around here for my plant, and the fact is this is a little trick I do a lot when I'm out on holiday, is I just basically get to a table and pin the microphone to the tablecloth or whatever. So my microphone is actually very close to me, although it's not particularly in shot, or hopefully you haven't seen it yet. It's actually here. There's the microphone. And this is a great way to film, it really is, because you can change the angle, move the camera wherever you like, and the audio remains really consistent. And that's one of the beauties, the real beauties of using a wireless system. But if you want to, you can always wear the lav as normal, but if you do that, it's going to be seen on shot. So wireless and planted mics, for me, are fantastic. If you enjoy my videos and you'd like to see more, please consider subscribing, and even better, put the thumbs up, and that'll help me as well as you get the notifications when my next video comes out. Hopefully soon I'll be doing a test of a shotgun microphone and a stereo microphone from a friend of mine, David Harry, who's been making some rather nice microphones. Hope to see you soon. Cheers for now.